Amen, amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Tonight we get to talk about one of my favorite topics to talk about. Not Torah. Torah is a favorite one of mine. But within Torah, something that's also very fun to learn and study about. Dreaming. So this week in our daily class, I offered the opportunity for those who haven't begun to begin having a dream journal to begin to write one. And so I know that some of you are already in the midst of that practice, and some of you perhaps are just beginning, and I think that's awesome. I encourage it. In the Jewish tradition throughout the ages, from the Torah through the whole Bible, into the Talmud and into Kabbalah, there is a vast collection of texts all about dreaming, all about dream journaling, all about dream interpretation. And so when we begin the dream practice and writing down our dreams and having dream circles, we are continuing in a very ancient Jewish tradition. And so in this week's installment of Torah, we have one of our first dreamers, Jacob. And so as we enter the narrative, Jacob is on the run. He tricked his father into receiving the blessing of the firstborn, and his brother Esau is pretty upset. He says that he's threatened to kill him, and so time for Jacob to get out of Dodge, and he goes and he leaves, and he's alone. And this is the first time that Jacob's alone in his life. Our commentators have him studying in the Beit Midrash for many years up until this point, and mythically speaking. And so now this is his first time. He's away from mom and dad. He's away from the community of people he's studying with as the one who dwells in tents, and he's alone. And it is in this space, in this mental state, that Jacob has this dream that we studied this week. So I'm going to read part of that dream again for us today, because we'll focus on this dream and how it impacts our own lives right here, right now, today. Jacob leaves Beersheba and sets out for Haran. And he came upon a certain place. It just happened upon a place, and stopped there for the night. For the sun had set, and he took one of the stones of the place and put it under his head and lay down in that place, and he dreamed, and look, there was a ladder, a ramp, set up against the sky, reaching from the ground to the heaven, and look, there were messengers of God who were going up and coming down. And look, the Lord was poised over him and said, I am the source of our life, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and to your seed. And then he says, and look, I am with you. I will guard you wherever you go. I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done that which I have spoken. And Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, indeed, the Holy One is in this place, and I did not know. And he was in awe, and he said, how awesome is this place? This can be but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. This is a profound moment in Jacob's life. It is a deeply connecting moment. It is an awakening moment. The horizontal and the vertical narrative in Jacob's lives intersect right in this place here. And so I like to call this an Axis Mundi moment. The Axis Mundi is something I talk about a lot, and I do love this idea. It's a central point of one's existence, both physical and ethereal, that is linked to the center of the world. It's one's personal sacred space. And as Eliade states, to create space, sacred space, is to create an ordered universe emanating around a central point of reference. And so I want all of us to begin to become aware of Axis Mundi moments in our life. A place where our physical and spiritual lives intersect. And that one place to cultivate this kind of awareness is through our dream practices, in our dream lives. So Dr. Tamara Ashkenazi notes that in Jacob's dream, the ladder, the sulam, serves as a bridge between heaven and earth, upon which angels ascend and descend, thus indicating a dialogic nature of communication between two realms. Thus Jacob has begun a double journey, like all of us, it's a double journey. A dream journey towards increasing proximity to God, the Holy One, And this parallels his physical wanderings across the horizontal plane in space. Jacob happens upon a place. It was no special place to him. He had no idea. It doesn't really stand out to him, but by daybreak, after he awakes, he realizes that he is standing on sacred ground, and his dream is what helped awaken him to that fact. All alone, all he's got is his staff and a rock under his head. He realizes that God is in this place and I did not know. That God, or whatever word you want to use, is in every place, and I want all of us to be aware of that. So this too is our practice. And dreams, I believe, can guide us there. And like all spiritual paths, there are challenges and there will be obstacles, ascents and descents, high points and low points, and yet we are called to see every moment as arriving, even the obstacles, with no final destination. So one of my favorite Rebbe, one of my top 5 favorite ones, Rebbe Nachman of Breslov, teaches us that Jacob was resolute, like we all need to be, in his determination to serve the source of our life, the Holy One. He came upon Hamakom, the place, and we know Hamakom, the place, is another name for God in the Torah. He could identify in as such because he knew that he was not experiencing a descent, as he had already embarked on this spiritual journey, yet he faced obstacles which prevented him from continuing his journey. He was on the path, but he was faced with an obstacle. And every person has this place. Every person has this makom, a point in life where he or she finds difficulties in going forwards. This is the spiritual life. This is the spiritual practice, that there are obstacles at every point in turn, and to turn each one of those obstacles into a point of practice, into a deepening moment, into a more connecting moment, which might be counterintuitive to how we feel about it as it arises. And so Reb Nachman continues that this ladder with angels ascending and descending is hinting that this is our mission in the world, to ascend from level to level and not allow obstacles to sidetrack us. One who accepts this mission can recognize which is an ascent and which is an obstacle that causes us to descend. Despite the obstacles that Jacob faced, Jacob surges forward and merited to a vision of the Holy One, who promised to be with him always. But this is the reward of those who want to be on that path, that you are not alone. In his spiritual journey, Jacob met many obstacles and setbacks, and they never stopped him. His dreams came to remind him that a deeper connection accompanies him, guides him, and rests within him. His dream life tapped into this mystery, into this truth, to seek the nexus between his temporal journey along the x-axis of life and the y-axis, a timeless place where the soul is always yearning to play. And so Roger Kamenetz, in his book, The History of Last Night's Dream, if you're interested in learning more about dreams in the Jewish tradition, this is the book to read, The History of Last Night's Dream. Gives us some symbols to guide us in the beginning of our dream practice. He says, I believe that there is an answer in dreams. The experience of the soul is imaginal, but not imaginary. I can feel it for myself, and I can feel it for others when I see that behind the adult, the little boy or the little girl is there. Each dreamer gets a unique image of the soul, and everyone who dreams has this path of knowing that of the hidden life of the soul. Here's the outline of the path as I understand it, as Roger Kamenetz understands it. 1. First, you must encounter your predicament and see your opposition. This is the first gift. 2. Then you can find the essential image of the soul. That's the second gift. And then finally, as a child, you explore the imaginal spaces and learn from the archetypes. These are the 3 gifts of the dream. 1, to discover your pain. 2, to see your soul. 3, to explore its realm. Jacob is at a turning point in his life. He has left home for the first time. He didn't leave on the best of circumstances, yet he is told to go and find his partner in time. It is a life transition for him. He might be scared, he might be excited, he might be experiencing a lot of emotions, some of them probably, definitely conflicting. And I think that this is something that we've all experienced in our lives before. And it is in these moments of transition, in these moments of conflict, in these moments of the unknown, that we are called to turn to our spiritual practice for support. This week's practice is offering us to explore our dreamscape, a realm of images, of gifts, and of deep divine connection. And so we ask ourselves, what is our Axis Mundi, the place that connects us to the center of our world? What are our layers? What are the images that arise in your dream? And if you say that you don't dream yet, well, tonight, ask before you go to sleep and set the intention, I hope to remember my dreams. And how do your dreams and these images, how do they make you feel? Write it down, and then when you're ready, share with someone who you trust. How can we interrupt this continuous future-focused, forward-moving, horizontal narrative of life in order to experience the present, timeless Axis Mundi, this y-axis of our soul? I look to Jacob in the Bible. I look to Jacob as the archetype within each and every one of us. And so Rabbi Adin Seinfeld reminds us of this fact that Jacob himself is the ladder that bridges the chasm between heaven and earth, on which all of existence ascends and descends. Let us take this problem and apply it to the individual, to our own lives. A person, you and I, sets out on a journey. After progressing for a while, we decide to rest for a bit. Suddenly, we have a vision. We see a path connecting the upper worlds and the lower worlds, passing through us. This is the path that passed through Jacob, and the path that passes through everyone who travels on the journey of life, no matter who he or she may be. This is the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And at the transition point stands Jacob, stands all of us. So as I become more aware of the state of my soul entangled in this horizontal narrative and this vertical myth, I become open to the gifts in my dreams, a soul detangler. The dreams can lead you to change the situation of your soul. So turning to dreams and listening and feeling into the images, we can begin to learn about this subtle landscape where the soul dwells, which in turn can help us as we move about our days, gifting us with the mindfulness of an awakened heart that helps us to say, God is in this place, and I did not know it, in every place. Shabbat Shalom. May we continue to write down our dreams and share them with each other, and explore the life of our soul, hidden right in plain sight, right when we rest our heads on a pillow. In fact, my teacher once gave me a rock and to place under the pillow, and so if you have a special rock that doesn't affect your pillow too much, place it under in honor of the Jacob narrative and help bring your dreams and awareness to your dreams.